Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio. Now then, I've had a customer asking me the other day, and it's a chap I talk to a lot on email, and he's bought loads of things off me. Derek, I'm talking about you. He said the other day, he says, ND7 cartridge, he says, do you not like it because you haven't done a review? And my initial thought was, yeah, of course I have, I've done a review of that, but actually looking back, I haven't. And I remember the reason now. I think it was because the 3 came out, and I thought, oh, it's going to be weeks before the next model comes out. And it wasn't, it was like a matter of days between the 3, the 5 and the 7. And I felt like I was overloading the channel with Rega cartridge reviews. So I stepped back a little bit. I thought, I'll wait a few weeks and I'll do the review then. And I didn't get on with it. How unlike me to not get on with something that I say I'm going to do. Anyway, so ND7 review. Before I kind of talk about the ND7, I just sort of want to put this into context. I think this might be one of the best moving magnet cartridges I've ever heard. Or at least, I'm going to quantify that in a minute, because there is one that is better, but we'll quantify it. I've got it sort of in your, I don't know if everybody else does this, but I've got sort of fond memories of certain cartridges through the years. I have a deep suspicion that this ND7 is going to be on the list. You know, when I'm sort of in a retirement home somewhere, I'll be boring all the residents in the retirement home talking about my favourite cartridges over the years. Yeah, I can see that happening actually. It's not long away. And I was thinking literally just now, this is why I've just picked the camera up. I remember things like Elite 700 cartridge moving magnet. I had a Linitoc with an AZAC on it, and for some bizarre reason, it wasn't me. I was playing an album, and all of a sudden the AZAC just completely fell apart. The cantilever fell off, and it just scooted across the record as it was playing. And I had to find a quick replacement. And when I was working at Brady's years ago, full if I do it here actually. If I take a cartridge off a deck and replace it, we always keep the old one just on it, just as you know. Don't really want to throw them away. Then they'd sort of back up on shelves and things. So I've got hundreds here, old cartridges. So because I couldn't initially afford another cartridge, I just borrowed a 700 because Doug used to really sort of eulogise about the Elite cartridges, about how good they were. I thought I'll try a 700 to put one in my deck. And actually I preferred it in some ways to the AZAC. It wasn't a cheap magnet, but it was somewhat cheaper than an AZAC. And it just had this natural openness to it and a speed, even though it's a magnet and magnets tend not to have the speed of coils. But it was just a very engaging sound and very smooth, and you know, detail and that sort of thing was lovely on it. And I kept that for a long time actually. I didn't change it for a couple of years. I think I ended up swapping. I think I actually went back to coil after that, but I jumped up quite a bit. I think it was some fairly high-end Autofan I had after that. But loved it. And it wasn't a cartridge that you would sort of sit listening and think, if only I had this, it would be better. It just played the music and it was great. Earlier than that slightly, was it earlier? Oh, kind of the same time, I suppose. A cartridge I used to sort of really recommend to people was Supex 100E, I think it was actually, thinking back now. Because at the time, I think that was probably one of the best moving magnets around. That was, again, a lovely, natural, but still quite fast for a magnet sounding cartridge. Quite a big body on it from what I remember, but that was really nice. Supex isn't a company here much about nowadays, but it sort of back early 80s, it was kind of the go-to brand almost. I don't know what else there was. I had a few in my mind that I thought about there, and I thought, oh, must mention those. I'll tell you what the other one was. The go-to mid-price cartridge, if you had a Rega 3, was an A&R P77. So A&R is audio and recording, which became Arcam. Yeah, Arcam used to make cartridges, whether they made them or whether they were from somewhere else, because most cartridges come from, there's only a handful of places that actually make them. And it was okay, it was a nice match for a planar 3, but if you put it into anything else, it sort of sounded a little bit too polite, the P77. And I actually preferred, in some respects, the E, which is a cheaper tip. You had a cheaper diamond on it, and it had a little bit more life. There is a reason for me talking about this, but there was a company called Stilton, and they took the P77 and created a metal body for it, and put all the sort of internal gubbins and stuff like that within this metal body. So we had the Stilton P77. Now that was really good. It completely transformed. It made me realise how important the rigidity of the body and all that sort of thing is. I mean, you see that in the Audio-Technica range. If you go up through their range, and when they go from the plastic bodies to the metal bodies, there's quite a jump in performance because it's so much more rigid and more accurately machined really. But the Stilton P77 was quite a phenomenal thing actually. So yeah, that was those. I mean, my mind's gone blank now. I can't think of any more. But if I think of any more, I might put a little list at the bottom if I've got a chance. But yeah, the ND7. I would say it's probably almost the best moving magnet you can buy at the moment. I think the crown probably does go to the Nagoka 500. I mean, that is phenomenal sounding. I'd say also the 300 is a better cartridge than the Rega, but we're at nearly double the price. So this is, just to put it into context, if you want to be better the ND7 and you've only got a moving magnet, that's where you have to go to. You're looking at 800 or so pound cartridges. I think the thing about the ND7 is it does sound like a coil. Because they've got these neodymium magnets which allows them to use very strong magnets, and it means they can use very, very fine coils. It's the reduction in mass, and it means magnets are tiny, the coils are tiny, and this is how you get the speed. So if you compare to the old range was a bit of a marmitey sort of range really. Some people got it and other people didn't, I think. Because things like the Bias, the Elise and the Exact, they were very musically engaging, but weren't technically as good as some of the competition. They weren't quite as detailed, weren't quite as refined. I mean, the Exact was a quite refined sounding cartridge, but you were up into the sort of £300 price point by then. What the ND7 does is take all the good stuff from everybody else. So a bit of warmth and the fine detail, a big 3D sort of soundstage, which the old range did to a degree, but not as good as things like Nagokas and even some of the Audio-Technicas. It gives you a big 3D soundstage, it gives you the speed, but it gives you the engagement, which is, like I say, lacking from a lot of other designs really. They're just so interesting to listen to, and I've had customers who bought them sort of comparing to Hanna's and whatever else, coils, Audio-Technica 33s, sorry, should I say, and preferring the sound of the ND7 to some sort of, some of these moving coil cartridges, which is going some. It really is. I mean, it's such good value for money. I can't really overstate it. It's such good value for money. The only problem with them at the moment is there is a waiting list, and it's because they're so good. And I think Rega have been taken by surprise. It's taken me by surprise how many I've sold, because I reckon I'm probably selling 5 or 6 times more of the new range than I did the old range. Because in some circumstances I would say to, well, perhaps you'd be better with an Audio-Technica, perhaps you would be better. Just talking to the customer and getting a feel of their sort of expectations from cartridges. Sometimes there's a better option. I don't think there is now. I think if you've got £450 to spend on a cartridge, the ND7 is kind of it, really. I can't think there's anything else out there that will probably beat it in any way, never mind always. So yeah, that's it. That is my review. I really, really like it. Really like it. If you want one, you just need to get your name on. I think the Rega are quoting about 2 weeks at the moment. I've run out of stock because I didn't quite have enough when the demand really started to sort of get ahead of it. They are bit by bit coming through. I think my next batch is probably early next week. So they're coming through, but it's almost like it's stepping back a little bit as we go. So if you want to get your name on one, I'd get out there and get it on the website and get it put through, and then it'll be in the system then. So yeah, that's it. That's all I was going to talk about today. Can't think of anything else. I had a Sugden IA4 here briefly, which I would love to have opened up and shown you, but the customer was down here like a shot to pick it up. Steve, he's not called Steve, but he'll know what the joke is. Yeah, I'd love to. I need to get an IA4 for here actually, which I will do actually at some point soon, but I'll just sort of juggling finances and trying to get the right things out really. But the IA4 is such a phenomenal amp. I really need to have one here, to be honest. Yeah, that's it. I'm going to stop it there because I've got stuff to. I'm so busy in the shop at the moment. I've got so much stuff to do. Leave it there. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If if you're enjoying what you see and you want to buy me a coffee, if you go to the website and follow the buy me a coffee link, you can do that. Much appreciated if you do that. So many people have done. It completely take me by surprise. That has how popular that's been, and it's really appreciate it. Makes me feel amazing, to be honest. So thank you very much. I'll see you soon.